Hello everyone, I'm Jim. Today, we're going to dissect why your brain is lying to you about your avoidant ex, and more importantly, how you can free yourself from that looping trap. In this video, I'll not only transform the original content under the spirit of fair use, but also enrich it with real-world perspectives, practical exercises, and actionable steps to help you regain inner peace. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where every memory of your ex accelerates your heartbeat, yet the more you cling, the more they pull away? You thought you'd feel relief after the breakup, but instead, you're caught in deeper confusion haunted by those fleeting sweet moments. That's the hallmark of the anxious avoidant trap, a seemingly opposite pair that can't let go of each other. In the first segment, I'll explain why your brain replays childhood wounds through relationship patterns that mimic those early intermittent reinforcements from caregivers. Next, I'll show you how your body encodes love through rare positive experiences, making you remember the oasis and forget the desert. Then, you'll discover the key to creating internal closure rather than waiting for that definitive farewell from them. Finally, I'll guide you through a self-soothing exercise and a gradual contact reduction method to step out of obsession. If you're craving emotional freedom and yearning for a healthy love, this is the video you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Jim's channel, hit the notification bell, and share with friends so everyone can join this journey. Watch all the way to the end, because I'll gift you a free, emotional healing plan template in the closing segment. Throughout the journey of relationships brimming with both trust and anxiety, you, an anxious attacher, have once again entrusted your heart to someone with an avoidant attachment style, whether dismissive or fearful. From the very first moments, you sensed in them a particular magnetism, calm composure, an exterior of self-possession that felt like a silken thread amidst chaos, a promise of a measured love not too loud, yet deeply resonant. Yet, in the very instant you reached out to hold on, they stepped back, leaving you suspended in a void of unanswered questions. Why do I feel them fade away when I need them most? Is the love not ripe enough? Or is my heart painting an unattainable fantasy? This is the anxious avoidant trap in full display, a place where longing and fear converge, and also the birthplace of an endless loop of rumination. The purpose of today's video, and of my inviting you into this narrative, is not merely to rehearse the details of why you still want your avoidant ex, but more significantly, to help you understand the deep-seated psychological mechanisms behind those turbulent emotions. When you grasp why your brain aches to rewrite the ending of your relationship as a means of soothing childhood wounds, and why your body stores memories of love through rare, flickering moments like a lone flame in the night, you can begin the process of untangling, of releasing those invisible chains that bind your heart. I'm Jim, a mindset coach and attachment specialist, and I deeply honor every moment you dare to face your pain and courageously seek answers. I sincerely share with you that there are no quick fixes, no magical solutions, only a journey of self-respect and self-healing, where you learn to honor yourself enough to set boundaries and to understand that your worth is never contingent on whether you can keep someone by your side. I invite you to start by reconstructing your inner landscape, to erase the fragile expectations built upon unconscious childhood deprivation, and to uncover the inner child who has always yearned for wholeness. By realizing that your brain's attempt to complete an unfinished story with an avoidant partner is, in fact, an unsuccessful effort to soothe a childhood wound, you will gradually see that the first person you need to heal is yourself. Through a deep dive into the mechanism of intermittent reinforcement, the ebb and flow of affection, like a sudden summer rain, we will together unveil the secret of obsession, transforming it into a source of inner strength, the strength of self-respect, of establishing healthy boundaries, and of committing to yourself that you deserve consistent, safe love. In the next section, I will dissect step by step, from observing those moments when you frantically call their name in the middle of the night, to exercises for noticing how your body signals craving for a response, from analyzing the nature of those rare sweet memories, to techniques for gradually reducing emotional dependency so that you no longer feel empty when they withdraw. Every tool I share is guided by the secure attachment mindset where safety arises not from another person, but from the steadiness and self-respect you cultivate day by day. Remember, when you begin to genuinely understand the psychological mechanics and return every shattered piece to yourself, you not only break free from the obsession with your ex, but also liberate your true self, stronger and more deserving of authentic love. I invite you to continue this journey with me, to listen devoutly to every minute of the video, and to commit that this path will offer you not just explanations, but also concrete steps for moving forward with self-respect and the wholehearted sincerity that you deserve. When you find yourself in an anxious state, that moment when you're most vulnerable, when your heart aches for connection and affirmation, fate brings you face to face with someone who embodies the avoidant attachment style, with their calm, self-possessed exterior that rarely betrays emotion. In that instant, the contrast between your thirst for closeness and their serene distance becomes a powerful magnet. You're captivated by their proud, icy facade, like a parched wanderer drawn to a mirage of water in the desert, while they feel exhilarated by the warmth and intensity of the emotions you bring. This dynamic gives rise to the push-pull mechanism, a continuous dance of tension. When you move in, they move out. When they draw near, you hesitate, and the emotional pendulum swings ever higher, then crashes ever deeper in an endless cycle. Every time you knock on the door of their heart with a loving message or even a simple inquiry, you face two opposing reactions: either their silent withdrawal or an unexpected wave of sweetness, like being told today is the water day in the desert, only to endure a bone-dry drought tomorrow. You quickly realize that the more you cling and plead, the more they retreat to protect their territory of freedom, and the further they move away, the more compelled you feel to advance, holding on to the belief that persistence will one day break through their defenses and elicit a heartfelt response. In this cycle, your mind is locked in a hope, disappointment, hope loop, an unceasing oscillation between two paradoxical emotional states. Am I foolish for continuing to follow them? Am I not good enough or unwilling to let go? A barrage of self-doubt that leaves you exhausted and threatens your sense of self-worth. In truth, it is precisely your most vulnerable phase, coming out of loss, heartbreak, or a personal crisis, that coincides with their appearance, offering an instant sense of safety. They do not smother you, demand too much, or unleash overwhelming emotion that would terrify you. They are simply warm enough for you to feel your heart has found a temporary refuge. It is a perfect metaphor. Amid the gray skies of sorrow, their cool, detached presence becomes a sturdy wall upon which you lean, if only for a moment. And you tell yourself, as long as they don't leave or ignore me, I'm safe. Yet beneath that self-assured exterior lies a fear of abandonment, and to maintain their emotional distance, they wield silence and indifference as shields, forces that wound you all the more deeply, making acceptance almost impossible. Within this context, childhood wounds where you once experienced intermittent reinforcement from caregivers, sometimes affectionate, sometimes distant, are reenacted in the present relationship. You're not merely clinging to your partner, you're reasserting the most basic need of a child, to be loved completely. Yet, paradoxically, the more the avoidant partner pulls away, the more your longing spirals, and that very longing drives them further into self-protection. This is the invisible trap. You suffer because they won't stay, and they withdraw because you suffer. It is precisely at that peak of tension, when you feel unmistakably ensnared in an inescapable emotional maze, that we must pause to grasp the core of the problem. It isn't weakness on your part, nor deliberate harm on theirs, but the collision of two fundamental attachment styles, creating fractures that each attempted repair only thickens. Having moved through part 2, where we decoded the contrast mechanism, how your body remembers love through rare, opposing moments, it's time to delve into part 3, your brain's attempt to finish childhood wounds. When your relationship with an avoidant partner ends, you often find yourself caught in a loop of thoughts. Why can't I let go? Would one final conversation resolve this unfinished story? The truth is, the moment you feel your heart shatter, your brain embarks on a serious project. It replays the original abandonment trauma from childhood in an attempt to enforce a happy ending. Yet this core wound was not inflicted by your avoidant ex, but rather by moments when caregivers, parents, or guardians oscillated between warmth and distance, or were sometimes completely absent. This pattern is known in psychology as intermittent reinforcement. As a child, eagerly waiting for a kind glance, a loving hug, or comforting words from an adult, You learned that love could appear unpredictably, sometimes abundant, sometimes scarce, and this pattern etched itself as a neural loop, compelling you to cling. When affection arrived, you rejoiced. When it withdrew, you panicked and yearned desperately. Fast forward to adulthood and a relationship with an avoidant partner. Your brain unconsciously reactivates those neural circuits. You recall sudden smiles and flash gestures of care, craving the completeness and stability you never fully received. Each time your partner withdraws or goes silent, your brain triggers a hunger for emotional repair, spurring you to text, call, or seek any sign of lingering affection. Yet when you do reach out, your brain is disappointed by the absence of reward, compelling you to try harder and perpetuating a cycle of need and frustration. Imagine a child playing a game of make-believe with a parent. When the parent joins in, the child is overjoyed. When they withdraw, the child becomes forlorn and tries to draw them back. In your current relationship, your avoidant ex has stepped into the role of that parent. During the breakup phase, when silence becomes the new form of abandonment, your brain floods with memories, feelings, and reflexes from childhood, attempting to complete that unfinished narrative. If you do it right this time, if you finally say the right words, the affection will last forever. But just as a child cannot force a busy caregiver to give more love, you cannot compel your avoidant partner to abandon their self-protective mechanisms. Recognizing this reveals the true nature of your obsession. It is not love for them so much as your brain's effort to heal an ancient wound. Your task is to rewrite that script, not by re-engaging with them, but by gifting yourself a different ending, a peaceful, self-authored resolution. This means learning to internally reward yourself emotionally, comforting yourself when you feel sorrow, praising yourself when you show strength, and placing a hand on your heart as a reminder that I deserve love, rather than waiting for someone else to provide these feelings. A simple yet powerful exercise is the closure letter. Write a letter to your inner child, acknowledging the wound, the times you longed for love, and close the story with the message, Ishur and now am the caregiver you need. I love and protect you. This letter isn't meant for your ex, but solely for you. Once complete, read it aloud in front of a mirror, letting each word serve as a final release. You have given your relationship its last chapter, and now gift yourself a new one. Simultaneously, practice internal regulation. Whenever your body signals craving, perhaps a racing heart, emptiness in your chest, or trembling hands as you scroll through their profile, pause, inhale deeply, and ask yourself, what does my inner child seek right now? Can I provide that right now? When your answer becomes, I will soothe myself with a warm cup of tea, a calming melody, or a grateful journal entry, you re-establish intermittent reinforcement under your own terms, not the sporadic offering that fuels longing, but consistent, nurturing care that builds safety from within. Though not a quick fix, these steps gradually rewire your neural pathways, transforming responses of hunger and fracture into experiences of sufficiency and stability. You will notice that where you once desperately sought their attention, you now attend to yourself. Where you once needed reassurance, you can now affirm, I am okay, I am worthy. And when your brain learns that it needn't replay old scenarios with an unfinished ending because you have created a new conclusion in your own soul, you will no longer be drawn into the vortex of calls, texts, or hopeless scrolling. Your mind discovers that the story need not be reenacted. You have authored its final chapter, a chapter of inner peace and self-respect. Transitioning into part 4, next we will explore how your body stores love not just through contrast but through neural safety, and how you can reestablish an internal safe haven in every breath and every sensory moment. Having completed part 3 and rewritten your internal script toward healing childhood wounds, it is time to transition into part 4. Your body remembers love through contrast. In those fleeting, rare moments of sweetness, an unexpected hug, a caring message, or soft words from your avoidant ex, your heart surges, your senses flare, and old pain momentarily vanishes. Their voice, the warmth of their breath, the flicker of genuine concern intoxicate you, but only for a heartbeat. Those rare moments imprint deeply on your nervous system, overshadowing the constant tension of avoidance and silence. Just as a single drop of water in a desert fuels intense thirst, A brief act of affection magnifies your craving and causes you to overlook the barren stretch of time that follows. Your brain and body do not archive experiences like a camera, cataloging every frame equally. Instead, they encode emotion through contrast. Deep pain amplifies fleeting joy. Each time you think of them, memories of abandonment, missed calls, unreturned texts are eclipsed by the memory of that one tender gesture. You forget the long stretches of waiting and pain, clutching only the sensation of safety that was so briefly yours, and chase its recurrence. Your nervous system becomes like a camera that automatically selects the brightest highlights, erasing blurry snapshots of loneliness and despair. Yet without pain, you could never appreciate joy. Without drought, you cannot recognize the life-giving value of water. Paradoxically, the harshness of absence elevates those rare moments of love into an adrenaline rush that you desperately cling to, expecting them to last forever, and hence setting yourself up for the deepest disappointment when they do not. You find yourself questioning, was their kindness genuine? Was it merely incidental? Are you deceiving yourself? To break free from this trap, begin by mindfully observing your body and naming the truth of your feelings. When your heart races upon receiving a sign of care, pause and ask, where does this feeling originate? Is it enough to make me feel safe long-term? Track your breath, the warmth filling your chest, and jot it down in a journal. Record the sweet moment and add a note. I crave this because it is so rare. By transforming these visceral reactions into conscious data, you gain a complete perspective. Alongside that cherished flash of tenderness lies a vast expanse of void. Next, practice creating consistent positive experiences. Whenever possible, intentionally cultivate moments of warmth and reliability with trusted friends, family members, or yourself. A coffee date with a confidant, a yoga session, a peaceful reading time by the window wall become drops of water you pour into your own desert. Over time, your body learns that comfort and love can stem from consistent, self-generated sources, not solely from the sporadic appearances of another. When you establish your own supply, the occasional affection from an avoidant no longer wields power over you. Moreover, skillfully applying secure attachment principles across all relationships helps you internalize safety. Rather than expecting your avoidant ex to anchor your sense of security, you redirect those expectations toward yourself and a supportive community, sharing feelings with close friends, seeking guidance from those who have walked a similar path, and using self-soothing techniques. When you are nurtured by a network of care and daily self-care routines, those rare fleeting moments from your ex become only a footnote rather than the plot driving your emotional state. Finally, remember that contrast is not your enemy but a mirror reflecting what true love must offer. Not scarcity, but stability and mutual respect. When you are strong enough to view the full landscape, pain and pleasure alike, you will recognize that genuine happiness does not lie in peaks and valleys, but in the steady flow of authentic connection. Transitioning into part 5, we will now uncover the underlying reason why confusion and obsession persist despite your healing efforts. You never truly received closure, but instead carried unanswered questions and shattered hopes locked inside. After we have identified how your body uses contrast to etch those rare sweet moments into memory, let us move into part 5. You never really got closure, only confusion. In most relationships with someone who has an avoidant style, especially the dismissive type, the breakup is never announced with clear words. There is no goodbye call, no explanatory message, no promise of maybe one day. Instead, you feel a subtle avoidance. They stop answering your calls. They read your texts without replying, or they simply vanish from your life as if they never existed. That silence becomes a new form of ghosting, and each time it happens, you find yourself reeling, convinced you need closure. You knock on the door of their heart, hoping, if only I could talk once more, I'd understand why. I'd clear up every misunderstanding, find the satisfying ending. But in the avoidant world, direct confrontation, dialogue, and a neat breakup can feel like an intrusion into their private space, so they pull back even further to protect their boundaries. Rather than a respectful farewell, you're left with confusion. You don't know what you did wrong, you don't know what they're thinking, and you can't tell when you'll ever say a real goodbye. This lack of a proper farewell stirs countless theories in your mind. You tell yourself each day that just one more chance, One brief conversation will provide all the answers and heal every wound. You comb through the past for signs of hope, a fleeting meeting, a glimmer of sadness in their eyes, a forgotten goodnight message. Every detail becomes evidence that if you could just speak, everything would be okay. So you revisit the sent messages, waiting for seen to turn into replied. Yet the longer you wait, the deeper your disappointment. Confusion grows thick and overwhelming. You can't continue the relationship, yet you haven't really broken up. Your past isn't clear enough to let go, and the future is as hazy as fog. Psychologically, closure means the ability to fully close a mental loop by identifying the cause and acknowledging the emotions involved, so you can release and redirect your energy toward a new path. But with an avoidant partner, dialogue never happens, so closure never arrives, only a tangle of unanswered questions remain. You become an involuntary detective, chasing clues in friends' anecdotes, in social media updates, in every ellipsis they leave behind. You wonder if they're thinking about you or questioning why you keep messaging. Building these theories may feel like an invisible tether still connects you, but in truth, it's merely the illusion of a hope that won't die. Every time you sink into this maze of confusion, you feed your brain's craving for a reward, a conversation that acknowledges your hurt, an apology, or at least an explanation, but that reward may never come. From a secure attachment perspective, the absence of closure isn't your fault, nor a conscious cruelty on their part. It simply reveals that the relationship was never built on transparent communication. To escape this confusion, you must create closure for yourself. Stop waiting for their apology or final explanation, and instead draw the line under this chapter on your own terms. You can do this by journaling your feelings, listing what you needed to hear from them, then turning the page and writing, "I forgive myself," and let go. This act isn't about them, it's about respectfully bidding farewell to that part of your story, so you can welcome the next chapter with self-respect and self-love. Additionally, try the verbal boundary exercise. Whenever you feel the urge to message or ask for explanation, pause and ask yourself, am I seeking closure or falling back into confusion? If the answer is confusion, write the impulse down, then tear the paper up or set it aside as proof of your progress. You no longer allow confusion to steer your life. Each time you refuse that false hope, you reinforce your self-respect and your right to decisiveness. When you intentionally close the old chapter with mindful, self-honoring actions, your brain learns that internal closure doesn't require their approval. You no longer cling to a vague interaction, but stand firm in your capacity to self-reflect, self-heal, and self-soothe. Transitioning into part 6, next we will explore why, even after creating your own closure, you may still fall into patterns of rumination and obsession, and how to break free once and for all. And that completes your journey from fractured wounds to rediscovering yourself. From the initial anxious, avoidant trap, through healing childhood scars, recognizing how contrast casts a seductive illusion, creating your own internal closure, to freeing yourself from rumination and building a firm foundation of self-respect. Each step not only unlocks the emotional chains binding you to your ex, but also awakens your inner potential to love more healthily, to honor yourself more fully, and to open your heart to relationships that truly fit. Remember, genuine love isn't measured by the intensity of longing, but by your ability to maintain peace and dignity even in the stormiest moments. When you establish that safe haven within your own heart, you no longer wait for someone else to grant it. Every time you choose to embrace your pain, bless your past, and breathe in calm, you amplify your inner strength. Now, the next steps I invite you to take are: commit to ongoing self-care, sustain daily practices that nurture your sense of safety, meditation, journaling, and connecting with trusted friends. Guard healthy boundaries, dare to say no to interactions that wound you and yes, to connections that honor and uplift you. Open up to new possibilities. Stop replaying old memories. Allow your heart the freedom to welcome authentic love based on consistency and sincerity. If you're seeking a clear roadmap to continue your healing and rise higher, hit subscribe to Jim's channel, enable notifications, and share this video with anyone who needs a guiding light. Don't forget to leave a comment about the very first step you'll take after today, because every action, no matter how small, is a firm stride toward a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Wishing you unwavering self-respect, resilience, and abundant faith in your journey of healing and love.